I have to admit, since I've been riding this bike again, I've been super fucking, like, sketch. Like, hoping it's not going to explode underneath me, or oil's not pouring out of the bottom of it, seizing up the motor, like... It's kind of weird going from riding a brand new motorcycle that's well sorted and beautiful and awesome and way too much power than I needed, to going back to what you started on. Like that's a fucking topic right there. Could you, if you've since changed bikes, like bought multiple bikes over your career, I guess, could you go back? Like, could you go back to the bike that you started on, regardless of the size of it, or obviously it would need to run, but could you go back and do that and be okay with it? Like, could you live with it? Would it be worth it? I sold Relina to financially stabilize us. I paid it off, then sold it, which kind of sounds like a dumb decision, but paid it off and sold it, part to help fund getting the wagon stuff sorted, but also so we could put some more money into our house savings fund, and or what was our house savings fund, because we bought a house. I sold it knowing that I would still have a bike that ran well enough to, like, not be stressed about making it run, because it's not like it was my only form of transportation. Like, previously, Ruth was it. Like, I had Ruth, I rode her all the time, and then I had a Honda Accord that I just let sit after Ruth died, and I bought Tessa. I rode Tessa at one point for like 7 or 8 months straight, like, didn't touch my car at all. And I had to actually make myself go out and start the Honda, because I was afraid that I would have ruined it. Because, like, with a bike, you don't let shit sit for that long. It just totally all goes to shit. So I was kind of sketched after I sold Relina, because I was like, well, you know, I've been kind of playing with Ruth, and she's kind of there. Like, she's got some, like, throttle percentage, or throttle positioning percentage, like, issues with the carburation. It just, I'm not, I am a motorcycle mechanic, but I am not a like, master mechanic, like, by no stretch of the imagination. I know enough to be dangerous, fix some shit, and have a good time doing it, and doing the carbs on Ruth has been a painful experience of just straight trial and error, having to do it over and over and over and over, getting the right settings, because, like, it's not like fuel injection where you can just load a map into it and change it and be like, oh, all right, cool, push start and go. Carbureted, you have to change jets and needles, and, you know, if you need to do the slide needle spacing, like, to help kind of tune things, like, there's a legitimate science behind tuning carburetors over factory settings. Some people just get it right by dumb luck, but me. But others, like, actually legit know what they're doing and how to do it. I just don't have that gene. I've gotten this bike to run as it is through sheer luck and just help from, like, other friends. It's actually been kind of dumb. But going back to it, like, I knew I could handle the bike, obviously. Like, I knew even the changes, all the changes that I've made aren't going to make it perform drastically different. I mean, there's some ergonomics that are different about it, but the motor doesn't make any more power. It may feel like it does, but it definitely doesn't. So, like, could you, knowing what you know now, would you be comfortable and have enough fun on a bike that you started on? Like, even if you switch sides, like if you went from, like, a cruiser to a sport bike, or sport bike to cruiser, or supermoto, like, I kind of did it out of necessity of like still wanting to ride, but on the same side, like it was kind of like a challenge of, all right, well, Ruth is sorted enough to enjoy and hopefully not break down, but on the same side, like it's also sketchy as fuck. Like I have a quarter turn throttle now. I have clip-on bars that are literally just aluminum stock that I happen to fit these eBay clip-on brackets. Like I've got switches up front that used to be hooked up to stuff but now don't because they're burned out. Obviously shady wiring. And to top it all off, I have no rear brake. Like there's no rear brake there. It is physically not on the motorcycle. And that was because I decided that a undertail exhaust was cooler than a rear brake, which on a low CC bike probably want to keep both brakes, being the fact that I only have a single piston up front. But that leads me to like sketchy bike problems. Like I would be willing to bet that the number of people who started out on something smaller or older, it was you did that because it was cheap. And usually alongside cheap, you've got to deal with shitty features or lack of features or sketchy things that you probably don't want to think about anymore, like the welds for the subframe. It's just, like this morning, I was probably maybe a half a mile away from work, and I shifted up, and then all of a sudden my shifter was gone. Like I got a shift out of it, and then it disappeared. So I looked down, and there it is, just fucking dangling. The bolt's still sitting inside the shifter, just hanging by the rod. So I kind of kept it up in place with my foot and pulled into a gas station, and spun into it with my hand real quick. And it wasn't like it was like that ruined my day, but it was one of those moments I was like, oh, that reminds me of how sketchy and shitty this bike can be at times. And to think, for years I flogged on this thing. I drove it everywhere. I'm going to bring back the tablet once I get another one. I seem to have misplaced it, aka lost it. So this thing will have another tablet display right above the headlight. I'm going to see if I can find one that might be a little bit smaller, or maybe a phone and like a waterproof case. I don't know. But yeah, do you think you could honestly go back to your beginner bike, your first bike? And fuck you guys who started on like boosters and shit. Like, that's just not fair. Not for the sake of like power, but you started on something that was already sorted. Like, you didn't have to struggle. And I've talked about this before, is like part of my experience of learning how to ride a motorcycle, because I didn't get to enjoy it as a kid. Like, you're struggling is part of the learning experience, and not for like you have to struggle in order for it to be worth anything, but like I know a bunch of shit I know now because I fucking struggled with it in the past. And it made me like think of things outside of the box of like, oh, change the oil in the filter, like, yeah, or hey, when you do your chain maintenance, check your brake pads, like dumb stuff like that otherwise I would have been like, if it makes noise, I'll look at it then. I don't do that anymore because I've had issues where I've been like, oh, that's broken, and if I turn the wrong way, I'll die. Like, hopefully I don't have that problem anymore with this, but who knows? And on the discussion of like changing things and replacing broken parts and stuff, like I've had a pair of Gixxer forks, and I don't know the year. I know they're inverted, so they're beyond. I want to say it's like K3 or K4. The label on them, because they were just an old set of parts that we had at Bedlam years ago, I think said that they were like 99 or 2002 or 1 or something. But they're silver anodized aluminum, or maybe even raw aluminum. I think they're anodized though. Inverted forks that I will eventually throw on this to get a little bit better suspension feel. I'm going to have to re-oil to a lighter weight so that it doesn't, those, I want to say those Gixxers were heavier than this bike, but I'm not sure, because this is an all-steel frame, and, you know, parallel twin motors don't weigh that much, but compared to an inline four, you're probably only looking at, 50 pounds or something like that. So, inverted forks at some point, although unfortunately that's going to change my headlight setup. I'll have to find some more clamps for that bucket. I gotta tell you, dude, doing fork-mounted headlight brackets are annoying as shit, trying to find the right ones. It is not fun. Fuck, I gotta fix the exhaust leak on this thing. It's like right where the mid-pipe connects to the actual headers, and it's so stinky. It's so fucking loud and obnoxious. I bet you my neighbors hate me starting the bike at fucking 5:30 in the morning. Blah, 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 blah. I try and ride out of the neighborhood really quiet, like super low gear, like almost killing the bike. I feel bad, but at the same side, like, I don't know, it's kind of cool. Kinda. Same side, it's kind of annoying. Ooh, that's not neutral. Another thing I'm having to get like used to again is like learning this fucking motorcycle. Like, I've changed it so much since when I first owned it. Things feel differently, and I've lost the muscle memory of like knowing where my neutral, like, going, because I switched to GP shift, so coming up into neutral is more natural than like pushing down into it. Wait, hold on. Yeah, sorry. I pushed down into neutral because I come all the way up into first and then push down into neutral. See, that just showed you I had to fucking think about that. I didn't have to think about that years ago. Like, goddamn Berlina made me soft. So on to further discussion topics. We have officially moved into our house, and at first I thought like, oh yeah, we'll move in like that first weekend and get everything like pulled over and unpack for a couple days, kind of, get everything sorted, and I totally 100% misjudged how long it's taken. We still have boxes and shit in rooms that we haven't even touched yet. Like, I think we slept in the guest room for like the first like 2 weeks. Ugh. Moving sucks, but I'm super thankful to everybody who came out and helped. You guys are awesome. I had downshift come up right after Hurricane Dorian. He came up even though it wasn't really to help move, it was just to come hang out. Originally he was supposed to come up the same weekend we moved, but hurricanes and things. Brian came by, Brian S1K, that was awesome. He brought one of our buddies from Chateau Lawn whenever I used to work there. That was cool to catch up. Family members, my dad, stepmom have come out and helped a bunch. They're actually should be arriving again today. I gotta tell you, I've been without my own space. Like, I didn't own it or pay rent or something like that. Like, my name wasn't on a bill, which is a blessing, but also annoying, because I've always been, like, I take pride in the fact that I've been able to take care of myself as an adult and not be shitty to people or shitty to myself and need like assistance or support or something like that, but fuck, I gotta tell you, as soon as we found out we were pregnant with Emma, shit just went downhill. And it wasn't like us. We didn't go downhill. The world around us was like, oh, you're gonna have a child? Cool. Let's have this. What the fuck is going on here? Cool, let's have this domestic dispute right outside your apartment where a guy pulls a gun. Oh, you're going to move? Okay, here, let's go to your mother-in-law's where she hates your guts and it's literally a hostile living situation. Oh, you don't like that place? Okay, well, go to your mom's house where you have to drive 30 fucking miles away from everything and cross a creek and fucking... I came home one day and I had to cut a tree. Like, I had to chainsaw a tree to get home, like off the driveway. I'm so relieved to not have to do crazy shit like that anymore. Or like I can just walk into my house and take off all my clothes and be naked and just stand there. Just stand there in the middle of my living room, just buck ass naked. No one can say a thing or tell me I can't. Like, so knowing I can do that is relieving, let alone doing it. I haven't even done that yet. I haven't stood naked in my own house. I need to do that. But anyways, I have my own 2-car garage now, which is awesome. Pretty much the only thing I cared about with the house, other than is it nice, is it falling apart, can we afford it? The garage is my space, and I'm lucky enough to have a wife that's totally understanding of that and knows that I need a creative space, an outlet. So that's in the process of getting kind of set up. It's pretty much about there. I've got some other small things I need to add, some tools and stuff, but for the most part I'm set up. Done some BMW stuff like blinkers and headlights and making sure things are working or needing to be rewired or something like that in it. But I think over the next couple months I'll definitely be doing some motorcycle things, because this bike is fun and all, but I need to wrap up some shit on it and make it better, like the exhaust leak. It's just driving me insane. I need to make some baffles for this exhaust because holy shit. I got a hashtag says fuck cancer. Oh yeah, I also get to enjoy Metro Atlanta traffic now. That's fun. You gotta deal with dumbass people behind me, in front of me, beside me. I am stoked though, because I'm within a reasonable distance to like 2 really nice concrete skate parks, and I have been riding BMX when I'm not riding a motorcycle over the last couple of months as my physical exercise. That's cool. I may take you guys out to the park one of these days. I don't know if I will though, because it's not really like there's a lot of talking that goes on, but it's not just me on the camera, or it wouldn't just be me on the camera. And I don't have the crazy like motion stabilizing rigs and stuff that some of the GoPro videos you guys see. So it would just look like a really shitty video of me rolling through a skate park. And I'm also not a baller at it, so it just looks like me just rolling on ramps instead of doing actual awesome stuff. There's times where I wish I could record that guy is walking fucking... Okay, I was about to say. We're still doing it. There's times I wish I could record the conversations that we have when we ride bikes, but I don't want to be that weird dude who just sits in the corner with a camera. I hate that. I hate seeing that, like, pre-staged camera stuff. Candid is so much better, but not many people are good. Like, people just don't know what the fuck to do when it's an actual candid camera. Like when they know a camera's there, but they don't care. They have the personality that they don't just like clam up. The crew I ride with, it gets rowdy sometimes, and there's some shit that some people yell as a joke and to be funny. It's just horrible. So I may or may not do that. We'll see. I do know that although this is a motovlog, I will not be strictly doing motovlogs from this point forward like I used to. I'm madly in love with my wagon, so I will be doing a lot of work with that, a lot of content filming, producing. Now that I'm so much closer to Atlanta, I can actually go do car stuff, like go to car shows and events and Caffeine and Octane, and not have to be up at like 4 in the morning to do it. So and it's kind of a bummer because this whole channel has always just been like a creative, like, I'm just gonna fuck around and meet people and have fun and talk to myself and record it. Well, now I have other other hobbies that are fun and creative and just as engaging, but it's a different thing. Like it's a car versus a motorcycle. And I know, the statistics are fairly close. Like those Venn diagrams usually overlap. But it is kind of a weird thing that motorcycling out of motorsports in general is a pretty small niche compared to cars. And it's just a weird thing for me because I've always really enjoyed having a personable relationship with viewers. You guys, or me. I mean, well, I guess I am watching this, so technically I'm a viewer, but it's cool because like I've legit got people, and I've talked about this a dozen times at least. I've got friends that I've met through motorcycling and YouTube I would have never met otherwise that I can legit not talk to for years and just text and be like, yo dude, let's go get lunch. And there's no like, oh shit, like I thought you died. Like it's just people are just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, man, when do you want to go? Like, and that's awesome. Like especially with Downshift coming up, it was a kind of a, hey, I'm gonna be passing through, like, and what are you guys doing? And I was like, hopefully we're gonna have a house. I will let you stay with me. And luckily everything went through, but then Hurricane Dorian came through, so he had to put it off a week. But he still came up and still crashed with us, and it's fucking awesome. Like, the fuck? The OG. Like, legit, the OG. Stayed at my house, again, for the 5th or 6th time now, at least. God, that's fucking sweet. Like, I love having relationships with people that I look up to, both as a like a content creator and as like a human being and a man. Like that shit's fucking sweet. It sounds, you know what? It sounds gay, like super homo, but I fucking love that guy. It's not often that you get to meet just legit people who don't butter shit up. They don't sugarcoat stuff. They're just them. I smell gas. Am I leaking gas? That would be unfortunate. Probably help if I got out a second. I don't see anything. Oh well, I guess I'll be on fire. Yeah, it goes back to that whole I don't know what I'm doing thing. I don't see anything crazy. What else can I catch you guys up on? Bought a house. I have an awesome wagon. I'm riding Ruth. This is a video on YouTube that you're watching. What else? Oh, I got to fucking sit through a little bit of the Ian 187 live stream for the first time. I think they were saying that it was the first time I did it in like 2 or 3 years, which is nuts to think I'm not the only person who's kind of dropped off the map on doing something motovlog related, even though they've all been still producing content the whole time. Kids in that car. So I hope that wasn't too much at once. I know this probably ran long, but I had a lot to bring you guys up to speed on, and now I can actually talk about like shit that happens instead of shit that's happened. Well, I guess it's all technically past tense. No, the road is wet. That means that it rained. I do not want it to rain. So yeah, hopefully I'll actually get an actual like regular upload schedule. I have gig speed internet now, which is awesome. It doesn't actually go all the way up to like a gig yet, but you know how fucking internet packages work, up to gig speed instead of like, yeah, this is what we'll actually give you. But regardless, it's worth it, and uploads and downloads will be way faster now. So I'll see you guys later.